Yo, what's good, everyone? Today I'm going to be breaking down a software who's a client of mine, Bouncy.ai. Now, Bouncy is a simple deep linking software tool that managed to scale to $19,000 in MRR by fixing social media conversion rates. Now, I'm going to be getting way more specifically on what that is exactly, but I just want to preface this video by saying that I'm going to be breaking down their whole entire process of how they firstly made this moolah of MRR, and I'm going to be showing you how I'm helping them to increase their activation rate, increasing their ARPU, reducing their time to value, reducing churn. Basically, this whole entire breakdown is going to be showing you how I'm helping them to make more money. And just to start off by saying that this is not really about design or UI breakdown, it's way more deeper than that. I'm going to be talking about user behavior, revenue optimization, like how I mentioned earlier, how they can make more money, activation, getting users to the first value faster, and retention. So yeah, gonna be helping them make more money. And just to start off by saying, what is Bouncy.ai actually? To put it simply in one sentence, it is a deep linking software tool that automatically redirects an audience from an in-app browser, like example Instagram or TikTok, to go straight to the default browser. Now, if that seems like a mouthful to you and you still don't understand, this is a simple illustration that I got because I remember the first time when I worked with the founder, I didn't really understand what the product is until he actually screen record the whole entire thing, and that's when I understood better. So let's say example, you are an influencer or an e-com store and you're selling a product in one of these platforms like TikTok or Instagram. Your audience will be clicking on a link. In this case, let's say it's a link tree. So instead of them going on Linktree on this default in-app platforms, what they're doing is they're going straight to their default browser like Safari or Chrome or Firefox. Now, the benefit of this is that the bounce rate would drop, which means that it stops your visitors leaving your site because they're going straight to their default browser. And when that happens, the completion checkout percentage will be higher, which means payment platforms, if you're selling something, are completed 68% faster. And when that happens, of course, you are improving conversions. Now, this sort of deep linking software tool is considered to be a red ocean product. And when it comes to any red ocean product, not specifically talking about Bounty, which means you are trying to outperform your rivals to grab a greater share of an existing demand, because this is a product that have already existed. And as the market gets more crowded, the prospects for profits and growth would reduce because that's just the idea of supply and demand. The more supply there are, the less demand there is. And the strategy for any red ocean software product is to, number one, focus on differentiating onboarding, have a faster time to value, and be aggressive as fuck with retention, which is exactly what we're going to be getting into more deeply. And now to start off, firstly, I'm going to be breaking down their landing page of the product. This is the landing page. I mean, very simple, very straightforward. This is the bare minimum that everyone should know. Hero section of your main selling point, and then a description of the product, which is Bouncy is a smart deep linking solution that automatically redirects users from an in-app browser to the default browser. You're basically stating what your product does, and then you're ending with a benefit. And this thing right here is basically showing it's basically giving a teaser on how the product actually works. And then right below that is the CTA of the sign up process. However, I do want to say that the homepage on a mobile actually looks better than their landing page. Number one is because of this thingy. You see this video that's really going on. I don't think this is necessary. It's kind of distracting considering that they already have this gradient going on in the background, moving gradient. So it basically distracts a user who wants to know what they actually are doing. And to even add on even further, if you to scroll down even more, they already even have another video in itself. So this is really overstimulating for the user. So this video doesn't really show on the mobile side, but I mean, if you're doing B2B, then of course you'll be signing up using your PC. So my recommendation is to remove this video entirely to not distract the users. And also another thing about micro analyzing is this whole entire background that can be distracting. Reason being is because you see this font here, which is start bouncing. The color of the font is similar to the background. and that the color contrast is too close, it's too congruent, and it's hard for a user to really see what these words are actually saying. So I mean, the gradient is fine. That's a really clean, simple design. But just have it in a different color, maybe have it less saturated, things like that. So yeah, that's just my feedback on it. And right here below, which I feel like is a great job that they do on the section part, is showing how Bouncy works. For the people who are new to this whole entire deep linking type thing, they may not really understand what it is. So it's very good for them to have how they actually work, their simple processes under the hero section. So yeah, that's a good job. Other than that, this is just more feature, more benefits on what they are. Not really much feedback on this. This is the benefit and why they should choose them. Of course, every product should have this. Again, more tangible results. They're showing actual numbers. I do want to say, however, then this is the UI, which is a good thing to show, is this. Bouncy has a lot of, social proof, which they should be showing they should be putting this way more above on the landing page. I would say what they can do instead is, instead of having this tens or hundreds of testimonials being very close at the bottom, why not replace one or two of these testimonials with this video right here, which is not necessary. So instead of putting this distracting video, they can just put some client testimonials right here. And this is where we're gonna get started with the UI. First of all is onboarding diagnosis, mapping their current onboarding path. First off, of course, we gotta start with the sign up process. And this is the first bottleneck that I've noticed, which is a single sign on bottleneck. Now you see that this is Bounce's SSO, which is very simple, very straightforward, right? But just one thing that they're missing is every single sign on processes should have these two things. Google and Apple. And in Bouncy's case, they only have Apple. The reason why this is a bottleneck is because a lot of users are using Apple, which means they're using iCloud. And if they're using iCloud, they would of course want to sign in with their iCloud account right here. That's one thing that Bouncy is missing because they only have Google right here. Ideally, every email SSO should have Google and Apple. These main two things. I've seen other products have Microsoft, have Facebook, but if we're being real, everyone either uses Apple or Google. Sure, you can have Facebook, you can have GitHub, you can have Microsoft, but ideally, the bare minimum is for you to really have Google and Apple. So that's the first bottleneck that you can learn from Bouncy.ai, and first thing that you can take note of. So getting right straight into the UI, like I said something about them being a red ocean product, you would want to be different in the onboarding process, and I feel like this is something that they differentiate themselves with other of than their competitors. I don't know if they're doing this on purpose or not, but they don't have any questionnaire like any other software. It's just straight to the UI right here. And like I say, I don't know if this is being done intentional or not. Because if they're doing this on purpose of not asking questions like, what are you using Bounty for? How did you find us? How many people are in your team? What's your MRR of your business? It could go both ways because number one, they know who they're targeting, so it's not necessary for them to get this data. And second of all, Bouncy is really more of a general product. They don't really target any niche whatsoever, so I guess it goes both ways. And so this is the UI straight after you log in with your email. This is again empty state bottleneck that I've noticed because imagine that you are a completely new user and this is what you're being presented on. A blank state that has no CTA and no context of what you're getting into. The reason this is a bottleneck is because it brings friction and confusion early on in the onboarding process because a user would to think, I don't know what to do. I don't know what the hell's going on. What am I supposed to do once I get to this empty state page? It's literally a blank canvas. So what they can fix is either there are two options that can be made. Is number one, add a in-app prompt video, a tutorial video. This is actually a video that I did for them when I worked for them way back, creating educational onboarding videos for the deep linking, how to get started with Bounty, which is a perfect combination to put on this empty state. Users don't know what the hell to do, so what more better for you to just welcome them with how to get started? It makes completely sense. So that's the number one improvement that they can make is when a user gets to this empty state, just automatically have an in-app video on how to get started with bouncy.ai. Now the second improvement they can make is to add a CTA button on the empty state to create the first deep link like this. For example, create your first deep link right under this empty state. Now you could argue that there's already a CTA right here, but come on, this is a pure blank canvas and it wouldn't hurt to just add another CTA for users to see, because understanding human nature, people are going to be looking at this blank canvas in the first place. This is the first seconds that they're going to be looking at. They won't really look at this yet. They're not really going to look at the dashboard. They are going to be looking at this, their empty state of this blank canvas. So have a CTA right here would make more entire sense. Or it's either you can have a button right here or and to just show a dashboard. So instead of showing a completely blank canvas of an empty state, why not show an empty dashboard instead of a pure blank canvas, right? This makes more sense. And the benefit of a dashboard is it brings more visualization of their feature workflow, because they're saying that, oh, this is a dashboard, this is how my feature workflow can be seen once I actually get used to this product. And it demonstrates the product's value, because right here they're showing the total view, active link, this performance overview that really plays a part in the user psychology, and it overall reduces drop-off rate. And so this page is the page that we are being brought to right after sign in. So create deep link is the value proposition, which is the page right below here. And that's what exactly we're going to be talking about next, which is identifying Bouncy's aha moment. To put it simply, Bouncy's aha moment is to be able to create a deep link and share it to redirect users on social media. That's their aha moment, their main value proposition. And the create deep link page does exactly that. I would call this page the main value page, because this is the page that, I mean, that's what Bouncy is for, is this whole entire page is built on this whole entire product. And this is also the page that the users are going to be using the most, I mean. One subtle thing I like Bouncy does is they're integrating steps with the UI. For example, is this: when you're gonna be inserting your own custom slug. First of all, they're telling you to select a domain first, which is this thing right here. So in a sense, they're educating you on how to use the feature by using the UI in itself. So yeah, clever. I like that. And yeah, this is basically the aha moment in itself. Once a user were to select the domain, and then they were to insert whatever name they want this thing to be called, which is step number one. And step number two is to place their destination URL. And so once the user were to click this create deep linking button, the aha moment has been met. It's that simple. So once you create the deep linking button, you'll be prompted back to the page, to this dashboard page, which is the empty state. And the difference is that now you actually have the actual value right there showing to you. And once you have this link, the value is really being made when you actually copy this link and you can paste it wherever you want. That's the value. Write that straight away. And this also brings clarity on the function and completion of feeling a sense of the product actually working. Like, yes, a user would actually be getting closer to that desired situation. So yeah, to say the least, the value is seeing the deep link listed on the links page, ready to share, like this right here. So to put it on average, Bouncy's time to value is around 4 to 5 minutes long. And to go even deeper on the psychological effect, when a user were to see this aha moment being met, is when a new user were to see the link being created in the dashboard for a first time, it brings confidence that the product is actually working, and now that they can rely on this product and keep on using it for more. I would want to say one thing that recommendation that Bounty can add is to use a confetti animation and to congratulate a user when they create their first deep link, like yeah, confettis and all that stuff, right? Like fucking celebrations and all this. Reason being is because I don't want you to underestimate the power of confettis. I know some people would think that it's corny, it's cringe, it's doing too much, but there's a way bigger reason on why you see these huge enterprises actually use their confetti animation when a user were to complete the first setup. The reason is it creates a sense of completion and momentum building, which drives a user to use the feature way more. Again, we're all talking about user psychology and the psychological effect to make the user more loyal to you so that they can stick to your product and increase their lifetime value. So don't underestimate the power of confettis. Like Meta uses it. I think Slack. I like basically a lot of these enterprises uses confettis. That's the reason why they're doing it. So why aren't you? And then next, we're going to be talking about the activation engine. And we've already talked about the time to value, the mapping out the current onboarding processes, the bottlenecks that they have, and Bouncy's aha moment and how the aha moment is being met. This is the onboarding flow. Step one is you create the sign up, which takes like 30 seconds. Number two is you're landing straight to the blank link page canvas. No questionnaire whatsoever, just straight into the UI. And then step three is you would be going to the create deep link page. After that, you'll be filling out the form of the deep link page. And then you click the create deep link button, which then prompts you to the link page with your value being met, which is your deep link link that can be copied, I guess. So getting the first deep link is Bouncy's aha moment, as we've discovered way back, and their total time to value is around 4 to 5 minutes, more or less. Could be lesser, could be more for an average user, but on average it's around 4 minutes. Now I would want to say that Bouncy's time to value is acceptable, but it can be faster. So how can we actually remove friction to simplify their onboarding and to decrease their time to value even more? Maybe decrease it to 3 minutes or 2 minutes. I'm going to be showing you how to do that. Number one is a UI change of, instead of telling a user to select their custom slug, pre-select one of the default option, which in Bouncy's case is Bouncy's domain. That's their like main free default custom slug. And yeah, because let's be real, a new user, when they just want to use a tool, they don't even know what a custom slug is. So instead of letting them choose, which creates more cognitive overload, gives them more option, which isn't really that good because you just want them to get on a straight path. It's not that necessary. It's yeah, so this is a process that can be removed or it can just simply be changed to just pre-select one of Bouncy's default domain. Yeah, like I said, reduces drag, reduces friction for the UI. It's not necessary for you to let a new user experience some of a feature that they don't really understand because they're not a power user yet. They're still fresh out of the womb, right? And the second thing on how Bouncy can remove friction to simplify onboarding and to decrease their time to value is this thing, which is a floating button custom flaw. And I'm gonna be showing you what exactly I'm talking about. This button right here, because if you're to go on the UI right here, this is the UI in itself, you realize how this button, which is the create deep link button, it's hovering on the screen. It's not pasted on the user interface in itself. It's hovering on your screen, which it can get quite distracting right here. It's like I don't know, it's like it's not really that pleasing. The problems are that a user must look away from the form to find the button, which again increases drag. It breaks a human's natural reading flow because it's hovering on the screen, it's not pasted on the UI. The button requires you to go all the way at the bottom, which that's just a weird UX experience. And yeah, the button feels separate from the actual form UI in itself. So what they should do instead is to place the create deep link button directly below the progress bar that they have. This is what they should be doing. This is actually this screenshot I got right here is basically their old UI when I used to work with them for the onboarding videos that I did. Look how simple and clean this is compared to the button being floaty around. Yeah, this is what they should be doing. You know, simplicity is key. And they decide to change it, I guess. I guess they're experimenting something, but yeah. This is way better to just keep it simple for the button to just be placed. These two buttons, the cancel button and the create deep link button to be placed right below here. One thing that I do want to say is just like the color of the button, because this one is less saturated, but this one brings, has more oomph to it. And the simple benefit of having this simple button placed right under the form is the button is where the user expects it to be, smoother UI experience. And the eye of a human would naturally move towards down the page, which brings no cognitive overload. And the third way on how they can simplify the onboarding and decrease their time to value even more is that instead of getting users to land on the empty state, which is this page right here that we talked about below right after sign up, land them directly on the create deep link page, which is this value proposition right here. And that's just one tiny subtle step that a user basically goes through, right? Because a user, when they sign up, they get to this page, but why not just get the user to get to this page straight away? It seems subtle, but it plays such a huge part of a user's experience. The reason being is because a blank screen, it kills momentum. Users who see an empty page would churn higher because they have no direction on where to go, what to do. So landing them straight to the create deep linking page removes their drop off point and gets them to the value maybe 10 to seconds faster. Again, we're all about optimizing their time to value and getting the user to experience the first aha moment straight away. So this is why it matters so much. These 3 points that I've mentioned. Now that brings me straight to the habit loop, which is building bounces retention loop or to make users use the product even more, I guess. A question to ask yourself: do you on your product already have a retention habit loop that makes your users come back to your product even more? This is Bouncy's primary habit loop, which consists of four simple steps. A trigger, which makes a users come back to the product, the reason why they come back, which is the trigger. The action of what they do once they come back to the product, in Bouncy case, which is open the app, copy the deep link, and paste it on whatever social media that you're using. And the reward of the action of coming back to the product is what emotions does a user feel when they come back? Are there any gratification they get when they get that action completed? What do they feel when they get it done? And after that, it's just rinse and repeat. I want to first of all cover Bounce's main trigger that makes a user keep on coming back to using the product, which is needing to copy and share the deep link. And the action of this is simple. A user would to just get to the dashboard, they copy the link, the deep link, and then click the copy icon, and they get it, paste it whatever social media that they want. The reward that they get is gratification, relief in task completion. Let's say they're selling something and they need a deep link. There you have it, just like that. So this is the main trigger, needing to copy and share the deep link. Yeah, that's the main bounces trigger. The second trigger that they have on making a user come back to the product more is needing to activate and deactivate the links. The action here is kind of similar to needing to copy a link, which is get to the dashboard, go to the links page, and toggle switch between activate and deactivate. The reason and the reward of activating and deactivating that deep link is because it gives a user power over control in the traffic, and it brings relief to a problem of, let's say, a deep link isn't working and they don't want a user to click on that link, so they can immediately just deactivate that link. And the third one on how they make a user come back is to check analytics. This is a simple one, which is go to the dashboard, go to the analytics. The reward here, I mean, it's quite self-explanatory. When you check your analytics, it brings validation in a proven result from the links. Which links are performing, which links are not. What links should I double down on? What URL should I be showing to my users? This is what the trigger of checking your analytics is for. And this is just a strong retention idea that can be added. I would say this is a bit more advanced for Bouncy, and that is to have a browser extension. Reason being is because a browser extension is an automatic way, incredible automatic way to get users to use your product with no friction. And I'm gonna show you how. This is basically a simple draft of what Bouncy's extension can look like. Your links, link one, link two, however many you want. This is the button to create a new link, which is a CTA button to go to the UI straight away to create your link, and then a button to go to your dashboard. And I've seen a very similar software doing this thing, which is Calendly right here. As we know, Calendly is a product for you to click a link, for you to copy a link to get people to schedule appointments for you. And this is Calendly's example of that extension, right? Very fucking simple. The events that you have, which in Bouncy's case, which is your deep link, however many you want, and your whatever option to have in your extension. And this is like a call to action of to create more links, just like Bouncy right here. And yeah, this is Calendly's example that Bouncy can steal right away. And like I said, this is a powerful retention strategy that Bouncy can implement because it increases a usage frequency, lower barrier for entry for a typical user to use your software, constant visual reminder because it's hard for a user to forget about you when your logo is literally on the top right corner of your browser. And this reduces friction to check your analytics. When they were to click on your extension icon, and if let's say you were to have the dashboard icon, they would have the urge to see the analytics. So to say the least, with an extension, a user would to increase the usage by 5 to 10 times more per week. So now we've already went through their onboarding process, their activation engine, their habit loop. Now brings me to the last process, which is monetization. The part on how they make money. Finally, we're getting here. Now, to ask a question firstly, when it comes to the monetization, making money phase, should Bouncy be a free trial or a freemium? A free plan considers of these two things, right? You're either a freemium or a free plan. Bouncy, the current model of Bouncy is a freemium. Now, I asked myself this question when I was doing this audit. Should they switch to a free trial from freemium? The answer is no. A freemium free plan model is correct for Bouncy. The reason why it fits Bouncy so much is because number one, Bouncy is a simple product. It has a viral potential of going big, which means that every deep link can be a free marketing when shared. The product is its marketing strategy in itself, so it's kind of inefficient for a user to get a free trial at that moment. And this product, it's low cost to serve. Links are cheap to host, so a freemium completely makes sense for Bouncy, which is what they are currently. Now, these are Bouncy's upgrade triggers when a user hit a paywall, which means how are they actually getting a user to the paywall? How are they getting user to upgrade from their freemium to their premium plan? The number one upgrade trigger that they have, which are upgrade trigger limits, Bouncy does really incredibly right, which I feel like you should really take note of this, and yeah, you should actually take some ideas from Bouncy. You can definitely learn from them. Is the first trigger, which is their primary trigger, and that is the 1 out of 1 active deep links. For example, it's right here in the UI. This is the free plan of the UI, and as you can see on the free plan, they only allow one active deep link right here, which means you can only use one of the deep link that works for you to copy. I would say since this one is the primary trigger, it is a very necessary trigger for Bouncy to have. Because once a user were to experience the value of the product, having just one active link isn't really enough for them. So once they get to the aha moment, a user would want to have more than one active deep link. And the reason why this is so effective, because you would see most freemium software, right? They would tend to give too much free value in the freemium, which doesn't really urge a user to upgrade. I mean, I can name a few, for example, like the top one that comes to my mind is Notion and Miro, which is ironic because I'm using Miro. But guess what? This is the free plan of a Miro. I have no urge to click this upgrade button because Miro doesn't really have restrictive boundaries on their free plan, which again that doesn't really urge the user me to upgrade to their more premium plan. But when it comes to Bouncy, however, they have this limit to be so strict that users don't abuse the freemium, and so they're being forced to pay. So a huge lesson in this when it comes to the paywall and when it comes to your freemium limits, be strict with it. Have some boundaries. Do not allow your users to abuse your product, your freemium. And while we're at it, of course they're not perfect, which is an error trigger you'd see here saying that your deep link limit has been reached. Please deactivate some links or upgrade your plan. What they could simply do is have a CTA right here to upgrade, an upgrade button right here. So yeah, that you're being shown this notification. There's no call to action to upgrade. So that's just a small bottleneck that I noticed. The second upgrade limit trigger that Bouncy has is when a user wants to check the analytics. Then you're being hit with the paywall. It means to be said that you can't see the dashboard analytics on the free plan, which means you're forced to upgrade. This is being triggered when a user wants to see which links are best performing, and the pressure to upgrade is high because of course users will be curious to see the ROI of their deep links. It's quite self-explanatory, but yeah, I would say that these two links are actually very effective. Basically the process is that they're allowing a user to experience the main value of the product, but only for a tiny bit, and then you're being forced to upgrade because without these things of seeing the analytics and only having one active deep links, you can really work more. And a user wouldn't really want to bounce because they're already being activated. They're already using your product. So it's hard for them to churn. And in this case, they're being more stickier. The next um other two trigger, this should be a third one, and this should be a fourth one, by the way. That's a typo. Is having custom domains trigger and advanced settings. These are for power users, but however, I would say that these are more of a nice to have rather than the other two, which are essential. So I would say these current triggers are how Bounty actually make their money mainly. And yeah, that brings me to the whole entire breakdown of Bouncy.ai. And yeah, that's how they make money. And this is the whole entire process on how they can be making way more money. If you want to apply the same frameworks, the same processes on your product, like how I did to Bounty, this is all custom to everyone, the different specific product. You can hop on a one call with me and we can make more money together. So yeah, the link is under the description of this video. Hop on a call with me and yeah.